Good morning, good morning. Happy Mother's Day, everyone. Hello, Lord Mist. Good morning. How are you doing today? I am happy that I got my Runa tea back. So, it's got the longer steep time. So I still have like 5 minutes left on that, but we can still get going in the meantime. I tried to bring Zilba over here, but I don't think he really liked. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't like the studio lights. Maybe I'll have to figure something else out. He was hanging out with me until I turned those on, and then he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go over where it's dark." Okay, so let's take a look at what we have right now. This is from Friday. We created a ramp on the bottom left. And we can see that right down here. These balls hit that, and then they just slowly roll into wherever they're going, which is nice. So I want to create another one of these, but on the opposite side. So I don't think I need to create don't think I need to do anything with our config. I think what we want to do is, let's go to the main library. Right, so we have this create left collector. I'm actually thinking we can do this create collector, and then maybe having like a flag in here for like is left. Boolean? Would that work? And then we have create collector. This is false so far, so nobody really cares about that yet. And then this is very, very, very low energy music. No. Let's find something better. We have, let's do EDM. All right, so right now everything is for the left, right? So maybe this should actually be the right. Is right, because I think I have this as a false. Yeah. So if I wanted to do this on the right-hand side versus the left-hand side, everything is exactly the same. So the Y is going to be the same for this, but the X is actually going to be the opposite, right? So like if is right, then I want to take this position and I want to add, I believe, half of the width. So I don't know. Okay. I think I need to make the X and the Y public. Oh, because it's in data. I need to make data public. Either that or I need to like expose the X and Y raw to like set. We can get an algebra mute. I think like in the future when I do this, I'm probably not going to put it into like a data thing like this, but turn it into an algebra at the last. That might make better sense. Or I can just public data to make that accessible. Well, hello. Yeah, so like either that or I can just have the X and Y get out directly. But I also do like having the math from an algebra. So I suppose that I could have like the X and Y just return those. Okay, why don't you no, you want to go over there? All right. So I don't know if I like this idea of like getting the X like this. Because I could, like, there's no reason why I couldn't just say mutable self.data.x. Could do that. And then, so this would be position.getXmute. And then I want to add half of the width. So self.config.width divided by 2. I think you're going to have to be dereferenced for that addition.
I am who I say I am.
Replace it with, and then doesn't show me. Okay, fine. I'm going to have to run you or build you just to sort of see what you want me to replace it with. You're not going to tell me anything. Oh, plus equals. That's what it was. Dang it. Plus equals. Then in that case, never mind. I missed the equals. Okay, so that works. So if we're the right one, just move it to the right a little bit. Figure out what the width is. We figure out what the height is. This should all be the same. The rotation should be the opposite. So I'm gonna draw it out exactly the same as the other one though. So we're gonna do create collector and have it be the right hand one then. And I want to see what this looks like. I should probably run it. So I can't tell if it's, let's actually see if it's over there for reals and not just drawing right here. It is over there. Okay. Is there a gap in there? I don't think there's a gap. I think it just goes down to here. And obviously it's up higher here and down lower over here. So we need to reverse that too. But we need the graphics part to work with this now. So in our draw, we have this collector here. So if you're a collector, we need to build the rectangle properly. That's what we need to do. So in the collector, when we draw this rectangle out, the X is 0, 0. So I unfortunately don't think that I can do an X starting on the right and then having it move to the left. That would be really nice if I could, but I don't think I can. So I think this is going to be exactly the middle of the screen. So I don't know if I can do this in here. We might have to do 2 of them. So have this be if is right. Okay, so you're the else case. And then in here, we'll return a rect new. Okay, so starting in the middle, the self.config.width divided by 2. That's our starting X position. Our starting Y position is going to be exactly the same. So we can potentially put that outside of here. So let rect start Y is equal to U. Then you just become rect start Y. Okay, then we have our width. The width should be the same also. And then we're gonna have that height as our height. That should be fine too. So given that, let's see if we now see it on the other side. It should still be rotated the wrong direction visually. I hate how this does this. It drops down too low? No. Okay, so this is just a continuation of what we have. Going downwards like this. I suppose that makes sense. So how would I reverse this then? If I wanted to reverse it, like actually reverse the angle, well, we know that up here, the rotation is going to be if is right. We're going to do that. Otherwise, we're going to do this with the negative. So now they should be okay. That's looking better. It's looking better from here, but I think GGEZ is rotating it all the way around based upon its left axis. So it's not exactly where we want it to go. So does that mean I need to shift it down a little bit? Also, there's no holes in between for them to fall through, so that's interesting too. If I want this to go down a bit, see, when we're drawing it, let's see. So we create the mesh, we create the rotation. Oh, is it because get rotation is the wrong way? When we store that in here, no, because we now put the rotation incorrectly there. Okay, so then it gets stored with the new ID. So insert the rectangle, the draw rect, which was now like unique based upon if we're on the left side or right side. The rotation is also based upon if we're on the left side or right side. And then the insert type is always going to be the collector. Okay, so that's fine. But it's like doing this rotating around on the top left edge, which I don't want it to do. I mean, everything seems to be working just fine. It's almost like I need to shift it down a bit. I don't want to have to do that, but because it's not really here. It actually is down here according to our physics engine. How we're going to place it there, if I want to put a rectangle, also I think these rectangles are a little bit longer in the physics engine than they show here. So I may need to shift them to the left too, just a little bit. But so I believe my problem is I'm creating it right here. No, I'm creating it right here. And I'm rotating it upwards like that. How are we collecting the Y position? Where is that coming from? So our Y is this start Y. So it's the height minus the config collector offset of Y. But is that offset of Y here? I think that is. I think these are like the same positions. So I really want this to be at like 0 or at the height. So they are different. So I want you to start here. And I want you to just start at self.config.height. Really close. Much, much, much closer now. So I want to shift down by like the height, half the height of this. So plus self dot config dot. Now, what do we have here? We have like floor height. I think that might be what it is, like the floor height times 0.5, like half of that, I think, maybe.
Well, if you're wondering what's happened, so am I. The computer
No,
that we
we want to go more.
the time took off and went wild. So what we're gonna do is start over from the top.
That's close. Is it double the floor height? It's like so close. It's off by several pixels. And I'm really curious what height this is. Oh, I would need to figure out that the angle is, don't I? Oh, that's what I need to do. So I need to figure out what my rotation is and turn that into the y. And I think that I can do that with a cosine or a sine. Is that true?
Well, if you're wondering what's happened,
Because I think we can get the angle that we're rotating at. Is it an angle or is it a? Let's see. I think it's cosine. So I don't want to like. I want to start at height, and then I want to add based upon. Because like here, let's draw this out. Whiteboard time. I don't know. Can I do rotations? I can change it like that. Oh, I don't think I can rotate. That would be really nice. Keyboard shortcuts. I don't see a rotation in here. Okay, that's too bad. So let's not use you. A triangle will be fine, but straight line will be fine too. So if I do something like this. So we essentially are creating this. And I want maybe like this line right here. So if I want here, I can actually draw a line. Let's draw this in a different color. We'll do red. I'm gonna draw this in a line here. And if I go up to maybe like this same spot, it creates this triangle, and I know what the angle is here because we're rotating it by this much. So if I figure out what this angle is, I could then figure out what the length of this and this is, because this is what I really care about, because I can shift down by this amount. And I believe that if you have an angle and you take the cosine of that angle, then you get like the x, and then the sine is the y, or it's flipped around and the opposite. I believe that that's how it works. So if I take what our rotation is, so we have a rotation, and we want the cosine of it. Let's just say, so we're going to add the cosine of this, and we're just going to see what that gives us. So that drops us here. Okay. Let's try sine. And see if that puts us like way down below. We might need to like double it. Feels like exactly the same too. The angle is not very much, so it might not be easy to see. So if I multiply you by 2, didn't seem to put me down very much here. And then let's try sine, cosine again. Feels like it got me closer, but not exactly what I wanted to get. So I don't think the rotation is helping me out there in that way. Either that, or like I would need to do something like multiply it by 4. But yeah, it's taking a lot for us to get down to like drop this down to where we want it to be. So I think I have the right idea, but I don't think I'm doing it right. Because if we multiply you by 8, like I could just choose random numbers to drop you down by. But I can't imagine that that's a good way of doing it. Let's see. What are we basing? So we're adding this rotation on here. I don't think I need to do something like multiply the rotation by 2 and then get the cosine and sine. I don't think that's right. I'm gonna try a debug here, just so we can get a little bit of a view into like what we're getting at. So let's take a look at our rotation, and let's like our rotation, our height. Yeah, our rotation and height, I think. I don't think we want to like do something like scale it down by that. We can try. Or maybe that's exactly what we need to do. Our rotation is -2 degrees. So we're going upwards by that. And then height is 15. Do I need to make sure the rotation is a positive before I get the amount? I can't remember with cosine or sine if it matters, if it's like an absolute value or not. So if I get like rotation dot cosine, we can also do rotation dot sine. Just why not? Yeah, okay, our sine is negative and our cosine is positive. So I wonder if we want to do sine, but get the absolute value first. So if I do rotation dot absolute value dot sine, like that, and then do something like multiply by like the height. They're very small. That's still like a very tiny amount, so I don't know if that would work here. What was the previous one? It was cosine was almost 1. So let's try this. Let's try sine again. Let's get the absolute value of it, and then we're going to multiply by height. We'll see what it looks like. Is rotation pi or 360 based? No, it is not. It is the angle. It's the degrees. It's the degrees that we're handing into this rotation here. So it's the angle, I believe. Oh, do I have to multiply it by pi first? Also, good morning, Epic Blarg. So it's how much to rotate it by, which I think is the angle, or do I have to convert it to an angle? It's a good question. In GGEZ, for the drop params, oh, it's radians. It's radians. Okay, so I need to convert radian to degree. One radian is 57 degrees. What's the let's see, algorithm? To convert from degrees to radians, we have to multiply the degree value with, I assume that's pi, and divide with 180. So the other way around, to convert from radians to degrees, we have to multiply the radian value with 180 and then divide with pi. Okay. 360 is 2 times pi. Okay. So what I want to do here to get our degrees in turn, we want to take our rotation. It's in radians, so we want to multiply with 180 and divide by pi. So let angle equal, or degrees, I guess, rotation degrees equals rotation times 180 and then divide by, I think I can do really, it has a 2 radians for F64. Nice. Which means I can create this rotation in and it to degrees as well. Oh, hold on. Then I bet it has it for F32 too. So can I just do rotation dot 2 degrees? Okay, a lot easier. I love the Rust standard library. Like, the only thing that I really miss consistently is Rand. Everything else, it has everything I want to have. Then we can get the sine and degrees. And I don't know if we need any of that anymore. So we can still debug this. So we can debug our rotation degrees, rotation degrees dot. What's that? What's sine cosine? Simultaneously computes the sine and cosine of the number. Oh, and it returns a tuple with both of them. Nice. Okay, so perfect for looking at which one I care about. So here, rotation degrees is -1. And that's still not very much. So I need to shift it. I feel like shifting it down is... Do I need to multiply it by like 180 degrees or like half of pi? Like, do I need to do, which one do I want? Probably the left. So from what I understand, the left-hand edge is what rotates. So it's right here. I need to shift this down. Like the entire thing needs to come down, obviously, but I think it's rotating off. I think it's pivoting off the top left, but let's double check with GGEasy. Where are you? So in rotate, the orientation of the graphic, which is not super helpful, sets the rotation of the drawable. I want to say that it's probably on the top left is the point where it rotates off by. So I need to shift it down. Okay, so we have something like this. And it shifted by this point. So what is that? That's like right there. Now I want to shift the entire thing down to make sure that, because like our floor is essentially down here. So I want to shift this entire thing down until this middle goes through the floor. But I'm not exactly sure. Now we're creating this. Where's our rect? We're creating it. Okay. Initially I was creating this with a height. So the actual height of this starts over here. And then it goes up that way. Why does it go upwards like that? Because if I say the Y is at height, that should be here. And it should come over this way. Am I going around so far? Wait a second. Is it degrees initially and now it's radians? Is that my problem? Insert rotation to radians? This is just like flat. So no for that one. I was expecting like maybe the right hand would be right, but No, not at all. Because even if I like multiply this by like 10 to make it really, really strong. And we run this again just to sort of see. Oh, there it is right there. It's down. So it is down. And then here, I want to do rect new for u height minus self.config dot floor height divided by 2. So I think that will put you into the middle part. Sort of. Now you're screwed up here. But I think this makes sense. So on the left hand side, we're starting with 0, and we're gonna go Oh, it's so weird doing this like where they're both rotated that way. Figuring out where I want to like rotate it from. Because this one I wanted to rotate it by the end point. You need a translation move, not a rotation, but I still need a rotation to make it look rotated. And then translate move it afterwards, I guess. Now if I undo this. If I don't do any of this stuff, if we're just minus self dot config dot floor height divided by 2, or I guess times 0.5. We put ourselves back to here. I wrote that when you had it in sort of the right angle, but it's too far up. Okay, so we have the right angle, it's too far up. So I think now if I want a move down, let's say we want to translate down by however much this is, which like it feels like it's this amount here. So let's put it down by, and then take this and add self.config.collector offset y. That's too much. Let's do half of the offset y. That's like really, really close, but it's still off by, let's say if I don't do, if I add it by the full amount instead of half the floor height. Oh, that made it worse. Oh, because I have a minus. Oh, wait. Do I just not want that at all? Do I just want floor height plus this? That's exactly what I want. Okay. So what do we do here? If it's on the right-hand side, The width, we just, put the X position over into the exact middle of the screen. For our Y, we are putting at the height plus the offset. So the other one is minus the offset, and this is plus the offset. And it's half the offset on this one, and the full offset on the other one, which is fun. I probably need to actually draw it out and play with it to truly understand the reason. We don't need to play around with degrees at all. However, noting that they are there would be helpful for future times. Excellent. Okay, so then with this being all there, if I want to shift things over just a little bit, I want you to start maybe by plus a balls amount. So self dot config dot choice radius, and then you are going to shift, so negative self dot config dot choice radius. And if I do that, there should be just a tiny hole in the middle of them for a ball to fall into. Except we need to do this more than just for... Yeah, okay. So that's for the display. We also need to update the collider. So where's our collider? Physics. Oh, physics insert rotated wall. Okay. This creates the collider for us. We give the position, the width, the height, and the rotation. So the position, I think I want to move that just a little bit to the left. So I want to then subtract. Oh, okay. So if is right, we get this, we do that one, and then I want to also plus self.config dot our choice radius. Else, if we're the left-hand side, do position get x mute minus equals self.config choice radius. So if I do that, I think now the balls can fall through the middle. It's really hard to tell. It's like they're not quite big enough. So let's do this doubled times 2.0, 0.0. There they go. Okay, now one fall. Okay, now they can fall in there. Okay, nice, nice, nice. And it looks... I think the left one is a little bit not quite there. But the right one is perfect. So like, it's not like we want it to be like... It's almost like 1.5. Is the right one too long now? Yeah, the right one's too long and the left one is too short. So, like, I want to shift this over by like more than this. So it's almost like 4 times here. This would be much easier to get exact if you could change the rotation point to the center of the bars. I know, it would be so much easier. I think one of my problems that I'm having is my draw is not based upon the physics draw. Like I think that if I was doing my own physics on this, it would be a little bit easier because I could be consistent, but I don't think there probably is a way for me to be more consistent with it with Rapier. I think I'm just not doing it right. So I want to subtract, but like maybe minus equals the choice radius. If I just do that, that looked appropriate. This looks really good now. It's like right on the edge, it's falling off. So I think I got it exactly right on the left-hand side. And how about the right? Oh, that looks really good too. Like it might be off by like 1 or 2 pixels on the right-hand side, but I think it looks good enough for us. So then what we can do is we can test, see what's the first ball that goes off screen down. Either that, or I can create a collider down here, and then it will tell us. So I'm actually really curious about like how that works. But before I do that, I want to create a just like to chop up one of the videos for this here. Maybe not. I don't really do that usually. How about we just create a commit? Let's just do that instead. We're gonna git commit for the colliders in place. I'll probably just have one video on this. Nope, that's wrong. Nope, that's wrong. That's right. So now that I do that, something I wanted to experiment with, and let me get rid of these warnings first. But I want to experiment with the, where is it? It's in update. These event handlers, because I believe what I can do is have an event like listening for when a collision happens to a sensor. So if we have a sensor down there in a bottom, we should be able to detect the first ball, essentially, the first choice that hits there, and get the ID for that. So I would love to sort of like see what that is, and maybe we can like pass those in. But let's get rid of these warnings first. Nope, not that. The shortcut command for it doesn't always work. Okay, right, we need to put the nails back in. So, okay, add the nails back in. Don't need you here. Don't need you or you. Don't need you. You don't need to be mutable. And you're an unknown spelling, so go ahead and add that to, sure, my entire user directory. There we go. No warnings, no errors. We can now run this, and we have the nails all in place, and everything sort of drops down. I am thinking like the nails are interesting, but they're a little bit too close together. It takes a really long time for these to move, you know, for everything to percolate through. That being said, I think it's enough time to have like voting happen on it, where you can like vote on which ones you're going to see. Oh yeah, you're right. Plenty. We need to have. Maybe not. Maybe not. Maybe it's just accidentally made it perfect. That one won. Just barely. Okay. So I think this will work. They all fall. Basically, if your choice gets on the left or the right hand side, the chance of you of it going in first is incredibly low. Like you want it to like come near the middle. That one got stuck. That's fun. Okay. So I want to, okay, we cleaned up our warnings. Let's go ahead and just amend this commit with those. Okay, what's next? I want to like create a sensor and then get the events. So let's create a sensor for the bottom area. And in physics, I guess it's going to be like insert our sensor. Yeah, so like insert a sensor. I don't know like what specifically I want to do for this. So we know we need a position that's gonna be the vector 2. This probably is gonna be a rectangle, like a cuboid. So we want there to be a width and height, I believe. And a height. We're going to return a U128. Okay, so that gets us started there. All right. To create this sensor, well, we're gonna create a physics body, I think, first. Because it has to, a collider has to be part of a body. So we'll do like the body equals, it's a rigid body builder. So we can do, this is going to be new static. So dot position, we're going to give it Sometry 2 new this position dot to an algebra with no rotation. We'll give it the user data with the ID, and then we're going to build it. So then we can get the handle from that. Then we're going to create the collider, which is actually going to be part of the sensor, I believe. So we have the collider builder, and I think here is a sensor. So we're going to create a sensor. Now, self is what? Oh, that's something different. Okay. That's just a function off of that. So what type are you is, a cuboid. So you're going to be a cuboid. So we want the half width and the half height. So that's going to be our width divided by 2 and our height divided by 2. And then in here we can do sensor true. So you are a sensor, so we don't really care about the rest of you. And then we'll do our user data, which is this ID. And then we'll just build you, because I don't know if we need anything else. And then we'll go ahead and add this in. So self dot colliders, insert the collider, the handle, and mutable self dot bodies. Okay, so we should now be able to create this sensor down at the bottom. Let's clean up all this. Okay, so let's do a function create like a winning sensor. All right, so what do we need to do this? We need the width and the height, and we need the location. Well, we know that should just be underneath the screen. So our position, if it's like the middle of it, the height, I don't know if we need to care too much about how tall this winning sensor is. I don't know if this even needs to be in the config. As far as I'm concerned, they could probably just be magic numbers for right now, and then if we need to change them, we can throw them into the config. So let's do our let's get the width, the height. So that sensor width, we could just make this the entire width of the arena. So self.config.width sensor height is equal to, you know what, we can make this one ball height, like one radius height. So self.config.choice radius. We can maybe double that if necessary. Then the position, so let sensor position is going to be a vector 2. I want to put this down, so it's going to be self.config.height plus, wait, x? No, x is just going to be the middle of the screen. So that's going to be self.config.width divided by 2. For the y, we want the sensor, want self.config.height plus half of the sensor height. But the sensor height is the radius, so no, half the sensor height. So sensor height divided by 2. So that gives us that, and I think we're ready now. Dota 2 Attitude, hello. Oh, and your project has tests. Awesome, that's great. So let's do self dot physics dot. We're going to do an insert a sensor. Did we forget to make you public? No, we didn't. You are right here. Why can't I see you? Insert sensor. What's going on? Because they called it just sensor. Insert sensor. There we go. Okay. Now we give it the position. So that's going to be the sensor position. And then the sensor width, sensor height. We are going to get the ID back. So ID equals this. 25 tests. I know it's not that many tests, but like if you went from 25 from 0, that's like infinitely more tests than you had before. So that's great. Okay, so if I do this and we create our winning sensor. Oh, gonna go play some games. Have fun playing games. It sounds like you deserve to have you deserve the break to have that fun. Thank you for the good luck too. Okay, so if I do that now, nothing should happen. Like the ball should still be able to fall through it. But in physics here, I don't know what these are. So we need to figure out for the update what these event handlers are so that we can see. So let's see. In here, in step, an event handler is this Dyn event handler, which is super not helpful. I want to go see what that trait is. So we know it's a trait because it's Dyn event handler. So it's something that implements this. Required methods, handle intersection event and handle contact event. So handle contact event is what we're probably caring about. So I guess we can create our own struct that will then implement this. So how would that work? Do I put this in physics here, or am I going to do it outside of physics? I could do it inside of here. Where are we? So we're in just physics. If I create like a new physics folder, mod.rs, so mod physics. I know you don't like that. I don't think I can do this, right? Then in U, like physics fit, like this would have to be physics, like physics. Oh, need to save you. Then you're upset because it has the same name as the containing module. But if I don't have this mod here, so if I move that out, this doesn't work, right? Use physics. Yeah, I don't think I can find physics in here. So I think I do need a, oh, you know what? We just renamed this to be mod. That's what I want to do. Okay. So then physics stays exactly the same. Okay, that's what we do. Then down here you're just yelling about this ID. So underscore you for a second. All right, no warnings, no errors. Now what I can do is inside of here we can create a new file for the actual like the collision detection handler. So this will be like the event. Is this the event handler? Yeah, this is an event handler. So rename you to like event handler .rs. So then we have our event handler. Pub struct event handler. I don't know if I need to like store anything, but we should now be able to do an impl event handler, and it's this pipeline event handler for event handler. Ooh, I don't know if it's gonna like this. Let's see. If I save you. Yeah, okay, so don't name this multiple times. So this is gonna be like maybe the physics event handler or physics event handler. Then I could implement the missing items. Okay, so handle intersection event. I don't actually care what you do, so we're just gonna ignore you. But contact event, or what I wanna do is just do a debug on event. I wonder if this is like screwing myself over. But we're gonna try it. So then in here, we're gonna have our event handler. So event handler is gonna be a physics event handler. We're gonna create a new one. That. And then down here an update. Event handler, we don't need you anymore. Now it's going to be a reference to self dot event handler, which theoretically should just work. Nord Zamoro. Hello. The way I flow through the design steps is incredible. Any advice for learning Rust with a few years of Python background and a semester of C++? We've been running through the docs and Rustlings for the past several weeks, but any other wisdom? My wisdom would probably be build something that you want to see. So like, as you can see, I like games and like little simulations. I feel like I like them because they're fun to make. They're when I run into like the tough parts, I tend to power through them a little bit easier than if they were like more businessy type apps. I do enough businessy type apps during my day job that like I don't want to do them necessarily like at this fun time for me. But that's all besides the point. real things, like build something real that you want to exist. And that's like a way to like increase your learning. Because like just knowing the semantics of the language is one thing, but actually creating something for real is the next step, I think, for you. That's my opinion. There's probably many other opinions out there. So hopefully it works for you. And if it does, let me know what you built. Okay, so if I run this, we should see a console log upon intersection. Ooh, look at that. Okay, so we're getting tons of these here as they're colliding together. So that's interesting. Now, this is just from contact event. You haven't found too many use cases, but you landed on Rust because it's far from your work code. Good advice. Yeah, no, that's actually the reason why I landed on Rust too. I wanted something very far from what I was doing during the day, which was all web development stuff. So Rust is like as far, ironically, it's as far from that as you can get, and also really close to it too, because Rust, you can do WebAssembly. So at this point in time, I can't do that at work, but someday I might be able to do WebAssembly at work, and then it would be Rust at work and at home, which we'll see how I feel about that when I get there. Epic Blog, one tip you got early on was try to avoid using references in the beginning. That way you won't fire the borrow checker while learning the basics of the language syntax. Yeah, I can definitely see that. Another sort of like related tip to that is if you find yourself having to manually put in lifetime annotations, then there's probably a better way to do that. And that's not just like me. I've heard that from IceFoxen, who made GGEasy. I've heard that from some other mentors of mine out there. So I would probably start the journey off by like, don't try to do, like, know what they are, but don't try to use like lifetime annotations until like you literally can't figure out any other way to do it. And then treat the language like a big giant puzzle. Okay, we've slowed down these collisions because they're not colliding together. We just got these ones really touching each other. Now I'm curious if we reverse this and I just don't do anything here and we put our debug here. Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. We've got nothing debugging down, but I want to know, as soon as one drops down to the bottom, are we going to get an event? Because then they're intersecting together. Right now, they're just colliding on the edge. Also, I have this space between in the main library. We need to remove that debug too. It worked. Look at that. We got some collisions. We got a collider handle. So we got an index. Intersecting false, but then intersecting true. So if intersecting is true, we get this collider handle back. You know a handful of the types of classes, structs, modules. You can think of geospatial stuff that have been ported to Rust already, but you need to get away from my comfort zone. Structs trip you up. Thanks for the help. Absolutely. Let's see. You say you have C++ experience and Python experience. So I would start the journey into Rust. Just basically start by thinking structs is equivalent to classes. I know that like people who really know Rust will say like, no, they're not classes. They're like, there's a lot of object-oriented like inheritance stuff that you can't get with structs. College level C++ too. I don't know C++ myself, so I've got a lot less knowledge than you, but I do know that it's a class-based language. So I'll just start there. Like, okay, structs are like classes in C++ or Python. And then over time, as you're using them in such a way, you're gonna say, well, how do I do inheritance? And you're gonna discover, oh, I can't. There's no inheritance. So it's like structs, it's like classes without inheritance. So if I had to use classes in C++ without inheritance, what would I do? Let me figure out how to do that in Rust. And then over time, you're gonna find, oh, I can use traits in these type of way. It's sort of like inheritance, but not really. And then eventually your mental model switches from it's like this in C++ to this is just how it is in Rust. But like to start off, have that one-to-one equation. That's fine. So when we have our event here, so if events dot intersecting is true, Rust structs are like C++ classes in the sense that they are data with associated functions and methods. Absolutely, yes. And that's really like classes in any class-based language that I've heard or used. Yeah, you can it contains logic and contains properties. Pretty much like that's what you see here. I mean, take a look at what I have right here. I have this physics handler struct, and I have these methods attached to this struct. If you ignore the fact that I'm doing this weird, like implementing, well, you could say like I'm implementing an interface for this struct, and then these are, is the equivalent shadow functions? Is that what they are? These are functions that are not implemented by this event handler, but they tell me I have to implement them by implementing this interface, as it were. And then later on, you can like the terminology can switch over to, oh, they're traits, and you know it's something else. It's like close, but something else. Okay, so if we're intersecting, then I can event dot, what can I get off of this? I can get the two colliders that are intersecting. So collider one dot, can I get, what can I get off of you? If we look at what we were getting here, we have collider 1, which is the handle, and collider 2, which is just the handle. But off there, that has the index. But given a collider handle, okay, so the collider 1 handle equals events intersecting dot oh, not intersecting, because that's a Boolean. Event dot collider 1. So if I get that, then I think what I can do is I can get am I gonna need to somehow have access to the colliders here. Ooh, I don't know if I can do that. I need the colliders. Now I can't pass anything in here. Like I can store in, like I can store the colliders. I can store this collision handle. Perkin J. Hello, good morning. So if I do this as an option, I guess this is, oh, this could be a vector. It could be a growing vector of collider handle. So when I do this impl physics event handler here, it's very similar to this other impl, except I now can create my own methods on this. So there's no constructor by default in Rust structs, unlike I think, what is it, like Python? You can do like a __ new or init or something like that. It's been so long since I've done Python classes. And I think in C++ it's just the name of like physics handler. You could just have a function of that. I have to create my own. So Rust standard, like the community has settled on new as like the way to do it. So we could just have a pub function new here. We're not going to take anything in. We're going to return a self with a capital S, which is this type. So I'm going to return a self with handles being an empty vector, like that. That means here, I want to just take these colliders and like just stuff them into the handles. So we're gonna say self.handles.push. Can I push multiple things in here? I don't think I can, but there's only 2 things, so I think this should be fine. So we're gonna push event.collider1, self.handles.push event.collider2. So now these handles are like stored in state here. This also means in here when we create a new one, just call this, it's sort of like a static method off of here. That's how I call the static methods, essentially. Python has some strange new ways of initializing classes like data classes. I stumbled on Pydantic recently. Funny enough, it feels closer to Rust, typing in call signatures, expected types. Oh, really? Yeah, it's been, I don't think I ever really spent much time in Python 3. I learned Python 2 when I was doing sysadmin stuff. And then that was it. Like, I kind of like switched over to JavaScript and did a lot of web development after that. Okay, so we have our event handler. We create these. Now an update. We run all these, but now we should be able to like tell. Is Pydantic something like TypeScript in a JavaScript world? Oh, yeah, this stuff is bleeding edge. I think is only introduced in Py 38.3. Oh man, there's so many. There's so many versions since then. It's in dev now. Oh wait, it's not production yet? So it's in like the dev branch of Python? Okay, So if I then want to, for this event handler, what? Well, this is kind of boo. Look at this. I can't do anything to this because it's itself. Ooh, Nightbot deleted one of your messages. Let's take a look. What? I have it over here, not wrong browser. Dota 2 Attitude, it timed you out for the pace spin. What was that last time? Frickin' J, I don't want to click on that link. Data classes are on Pi 3.8 and Pydantic Light is library that's been around. Oh, okay. So that's interesting. Maybe someday I'll take a look at that. I've been having too much fun in Rust though. All right, what was I doing? Oh, it's a JavaScript for neural network. Oh, that's cool. So I have a couple ways I can handle this. I can brute force this and basically just say like, haha, you make me do a reference to self. I can still get access to that by like doing a RC and ref cell and like fun interior mutability stuff. I don't want to do anything like global. That's not like the Rust way. It's like, what can I actually do with this? I feel like this is not the way to do it. So in pipeline, there's hooks also. There's these physics hooks. The set of hooks that must be taken into account, but that's also reference to self. Oh, it's showing an algorithm similar to my flock effect. Oh, that's cool. Include elements of randomness in a physical solver. Yeah, that could be cool. Although I don't want to in this case. I want it to be like more, like the randomness is really about like where the balls are positioned, as opposed to like in physics. But maybe for other games and simulations, that could be really interesting. Especially for like firing bullets. Maybe something like that. Filter. These are all references to self. So I feel like this isn't... How many balls am I planning to have on screen? At most... Oh, I can't open it up anymore because my game list is now like so long it freezes my computer for a little bit because apparently having cells of like over 1500 is too much. So my over 1500, I think, which this can handle. We did a stress test. We got over 3000. I think I got over 5000 in production. So we have this self-that pipeline. Is this physics pipeline? But if I want to get when they are run, I would want some kind of I don't think I want to have to re-implement this every single time. Like in here, an update down here, we have this as just like empty. I don't think I can do something like implement like a callback function or something like that. And I don't want to have to create a new struct to like pass in events to have it like send those out. Every single frame, that feels like it would be a bit much. Nord Zamaro, thank you absolutely for stopping by. And good luck with your rest journey. I don't think that there's like a mutable version. I don't think I can pass this in as a mutable reference and then have you be like mutable reference here. That's gonna violate the incompatible type for this trait now. We all have a lot to learn, absolutely. And it should be fun, hopefully. So let's go back to event handler for this. Let's go. Implementers of this trait will typically collect these events for future processing. Okay, I get that. But if I only have a reference to self, how could I collect the event? Oh, wait. Implementers. Channel event collector. What are you? So it sends out channels. For a channel to send, can I still send even though I have a reference? I don't know if I've... Let's see. You. Look at channels. So if in here in this event handler, so it's back to reference. We're not going to do these things because we can't, which means we can't have these handles here. But what if I could have a channel? What if we can have like send collision event like channel, which would be a sender. So what if I do that and you're just going to be a I don't know, we'll just send a string for right now. Like I don't actually care. I guess right now it would be the collider handle, right? Wouldn't it? Collider handle. So then we take this in, send collision event, which is going to be a sender, collider handle, and we just store that away. So if the event is intersecting, what are you upset about? Probably because this is all weird. Collider handle cannot be shared between threads safely. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, so I can't use this type of channel then. What other channels can I use? Are there any? It's the standard sync. So there's this crossbeam send channel sender. So if I use that, then that does work. So I don't think I've used crossbeam before. So what is this? This is, let's go take a look at their documentation. This is a channel sender. Okay, thread synchronization, multi-producer, multi-consumer channels for message passing, so channel, and okay, crossbeam channel sender. I should generally be using crossbeam over standard channels. Really? Okay, I didn't know that. Is there, like, what's the reason for that? Are they just like better in every way? Are they faster? So I probably don't want to be using Rapier 2D like this purely. I would rather go into our cargo toml and add in crossbeam and have it be my own thing. Then here for sender, as soon as this finishes pulling in, we're going to import sender from just crossbeam itself. Okay, so that makes you happy. Okay, so I think what we need to do is we need to implement our event handler. Basically, kind of sort of the observer pattern. Crossbeam is basically better in every way. If you want to avoid dependencies, you go for a standard. Okay, that makes sense. It's just better in every way. I don't know exactly what that means yet, but I'll just take your word for it, and then, because I haven't really run into too many problems. Well, obviously this is one problem that is solved with crossbeam over standard. Well, standard. But I don't know why. I haven't done enough thread-based coding yet, sort of like understand the benefits of this. But I'm okay with just going with it for now. Okay, so we need an observer, and like an event manager system. And the event manager system is, we can register with that, but it's going to collect all these events and every, right. Okay. That's what we want to do. So we want to have our observer. Let's go ahead and draw this out. So here's what we're going to be creating. Let's say that we have this here, and this is going to be our like physics system. Like the entire physics thing is happening over there. We have I don't know, like this is going to be like our physics events are actually like sort of, come on, down, like sort of connected in here. Let's see, what else do we have? We don't really have much else in here. We have like the main state of the game, I guess. Like, main like state is up here. I want these physics events to be available for us to like change main state. But I can't just like pass a property down for physics update to implement because it's off of that event handler. So instead I need it to somehow send an event out through this channel. Now I could just have the channel in main state, like pass that through, physics system has it, and then it gets passed through to event system. I think what would make sense though is we can decouple this by bringing this out here to this level. Physics system, so it actually becomes like this, doesn't it? Physics event will, instead of it directly connecting to main state, it's going to connect to a communication library, which we're going to put down here, which is going to be like the event handler or the event manager or something like that. So what's going to happen is physics event is going to send messages up this way. Physics system is going to run the physics event. So it's really going to be like that, and then upwards. You believe Crossbeam is developed by the same people who develop standard channels, but in Crossbeam, they have more freedom to use better synchronization primitives, which aren't available in standard. Okay, that's good to know. I guess I'll start using Crossbeam and then see whether or not it runs any problems with it. So this is what we need to build now, is the event manager. And the event manager is going to allow like things like main state to subscribe to event manager for certain events. So we need an entire event system. So in our source, I'm going to create a new folder. This is going to be sort of like event manager. So we're going to have a mod.rs. And that means in our main library, to make sure you're aware of it, event-based or actor model. So I'm not actually familiar with the actor model, so I'm probably going to do this event-based. It's on my list to learn actor model. I've heard a lot of really great things about it. So we're gonna have a struct for this for like the event manager. So event manager, and then we're gonna have to figure out like what these are, and sort of like move with them. So right now, let's do impl events manager. New okay. Gives us that. We're going to want to store this away. Actor model, you see near with what could be reactive programming. I could see that too. In this case, well, there's two things that we want to do. So before we do like our this physics event handler. So I'm actually going to remove these for right now. We don't really need these. We're not going to do anything with it yet, but we will. We will. So then back to mod and physics. Gonna store you. That, and it's going to do all the things. That's kind of what I'm going for. It's like it's like an observable pattern, but not quite, just a little bit different. So we can do like a little bit of a pub sub thing. So the first event that we're going to do is actually this down here in library. We have this key space remove floor here, where it's just like, hey, when the key down event happens, if it's the space, we're going to remove the floor. What instead I'm going to do is we're going to convert this to send an event out and then have something else listening to that event that then removes the floor. It's just a little bit separated of concern, so we can have like, hey, the space key was pressed is essentially what we're gonna put out. And I could even do like a command. We can just say like, hey, we're remove floor command is sent or something like that. I'm not exactly sure how I want to deal with that right away, but that's like the first thing that I'm having in my mind. So event manager, let's come back in and store this away. So in main state, we're going to store this here. So event manager, it's going to be our event manager. Now, I think we're going to need it up here, so I'm actually going to load it up right away. Store that away. Okay, so if I want to have this event be like set out and like, hey, this event exists, like, you know, the space key was pressed essentially, then in our event handler, no, event manager, I want to have a function for like, probably not register event, but like we want to like show that this event happened. So we have a pub function, maybe even like submit the event, submit event. So I don't know like the actual pattern for this. What is it in observable? It's like notify. So would it be notify? It's not exactly right. It's like there is an event. And then the event that it happened. Ched, hello. How are you doing today? And so the event is going to be, so we want some kind of event. So there's going to be a, we can call this an event like this. I think this should be fine, but it doesn't exist yet. So let's actually create a new file here. Event, rs. Pub mod event. Is it going to be a broadcast or emit? It's going to be sort of a pub sub. So neither. Yes. And then pub enum event. And so the first one is like, oh, the naming of it, broadcast or emit? Ooh, broadcast. I like that one. Let's do this as broadcast. Yeah, okay, I like it. And so event is going to be this type of event. So import you. And we're not going to return anything. So we're going to take in this event of what it is. And for right now, let's say we just debug this, right? We're just going to debug the event that it happens. Unresolved import. I need to save you. Then you're happy. Event needs to implement debug. That makes you happy here. Okay, and then broadcast. So back to the main library. So we have this like remove floor here. If I want to instead do a self dot event manager dot broadcast, and then the event, well, we need an event to send out. So let's do instead of like space hit, because that's a little bit too tightly coupled, we need to have like key. It could just be like key pressed, like we do like key pressed, and then we can have like the key code, which would be the GGEZ key code, something like that. I literally just brought you in. Cannot find virtual key code in this scope. Okay. Thank you, Rust Analyzer. So then back to the main library. So here we wouldn't even do the key code space, right? We could just do self dot event manager dot broadcast event. We have to import. That's our event key pressed, and then it's the key code, and that's it. So now we can see what the key code is. Oh, you love PubSub? It's so useful. It is. It can be a little bit sort of like fun to set up. We have a debug somewhere in here that I want to remove, and I forget where it is. Is it in here? No. Not in you. Debug. Oh, there it is. In a create nails. Okay, so now if I run this, everything is sort of working. If I hit space, that won't remove the top because we removed that ability, but we should see that the event key pressed and it has space inside. And if I put like anything else, we see those as well. Okay, so perfect. So we have this event handler. Wrong event. Let's just close everything. Start with, there we go. We broadcast this event out, meaning that we want to store all these events in some kind of hash map with a vector inside of them. So we can have like the events is going to be a hash map of the event name and then the data. I'm thinking like, is that what I want? Like the event name and the data? Because then I can get that out, right? Because then I can sub to those specific events that we're getting. Now, if we do that, do I want to do something like string and then this would be the event? I think that I might. Send in here, do events, and you're a hash map new. Send in debug event. what I want to do is take this event. We need to get the name out of it. So I don't think we can impl off of event. And I would just want to get like key pressed out of this. And it doesn't really make So do a pub function like to string. You're going to return a string. And then that would, this is going to be taken self. We want to match on self. Key press, we don't really care what you are. You're going to return the string. Key pressed. Dot to owned. That's what you're going to return. Oh, it wants me to do display. I might be okay with this though. Implementing display might be more interesting. Now there's those strum methods, and I wonder if using those would be better. There's like strum derive, I think, and strum. Yeah, we need strum and strum macros. That's what we need. So let's just go into Ergotaml. We're going to bring in strum macros. And once Rust Analyzer is finished looking at those, I should be able to, inside of here, we don't need to implement this ourselves. We can just derive this. So this is going to be derive, and then, how do I do that? It's like toString. Oh, derive toString. That's it. Nice and simple. toString. And I need strum macros toString. Okay, that's what it needs to do. Strum macros. String. I did pull that in. Okay. You're not yelling at me. So let's say I want to just debug what is event.toString. Have to now rebuild all these things. Now, if I hit space, we can see, okay, key pressed. It's just key pressed. So perfect. That's exactly what I wanted to see. So now in our main avant, because we have this strum macros on here, I don't need to like create that, create the event or the method to string myself. It'll just automatically do it. It's so great. So awesome. Okay, so I want to now store this in here. We can use this string for like what event it's going to be. So that's going to be a self dot events. Now, do I want to initialize all of the hash maps that we could possibly have with empty vectors? We might want to, but I don't know if it matters. So if we do, oh, you know what we can do? It's not going to be an insert. It's going to be a entry. And then the key, now this needs to be a, what are you? Are you a fully owned thing or are you a reference? Looks like that's a fully owned thing. So it would be the string. So this would be events dot to string like that. Then or default. So what's the or default? So if it doesn't exist, we want to make sure that the default does exist for this entry, which is going to be an empty vector. Then what's going to happen here is we're going to say let, this is going to be like the events equals, and it's now this, that seems, oh, because I don't want this to be event, I want this to be a vector of events. Like that. So now we can have a whole bunch of these events happen in one frame, potentially. And okay, so here we go. We have that. What are you upset about? Expected 0 arguments, found 1. Oh, or default works fine because empty vector, a default for any vector is empty vector. So that's perfect. So now we have this event, which is a mutable reference to here. So now I can push in. So we can do events.push the event. All right, so then that pushes that in, which means I should be able to, at this point in time, we could just debug like self, sort of see what we have in here. Oh, you need to implement derive debug. And we should now see every time that we hit something in there, it's going to add in. So here we have the events, key press space. If I do another one, now it's key press space and A. Now I don't actually want, even when I switch out, it's like left alt and it misses the tab. Okay. So we're going to want a clear events function so that at the end of every loop, we can clear the events out. So we'll probably do that. Well, we could just do that now. So of function, we want to clear all the events. What that means is essentially looping through all of the hash map. So we can do self dot events. We can iter mute. Is there like a clear? Clears the map, removing all key value. Oh, no. See, I don't want to remove all the key value pairs. I don't want to do that. I just want to remove the vector, clear all these. So we're going to do an itermute. We're going to do a for each. We're going to have the events in here. You're the key and the events. And then here, I just want to say events.clear. Then we want to clear out in there. And we don't really care about the key here. So then at the end of our update loop in the main library, self.eventManager.clear. So basically, hey, like the events will only last one frame. Yeah, the events will only last one frame. Now, is this true? Like, do I actually care about this? I don't know. I may be writing this wrong. I may actually be wanting to store like the senders and receivers instead of like the events like this. That might be easier. That might be a lot better. Because if I want something to get it instantaneously, which would be really nice, then I need to register the senders and receivers thusly. So right now we have this function remove floor. I want this function to be run when the event for removing the floor happens. To do that event, I need what do we want to do for this? I need to create the channels for sending and receiving, right? So we need to send we broadcast an event to Event Manager. But does that make sense? We should probably have I should probably have like a sender and a receiver, and we broadcast. Oh, that's what it is. So we have events coming in, and then you're pub subbed with the receivers. That's what I want to do. So broadcast doesn't take in the event just like this. We're going to have a sender in here. So send events. Like, does that make sense? Or do I just pass the event manager around? I kind of just want send events, which would be a sender, which would be a crossbeam sender for event. And we're going to store this away. But I don't think I can do that. We want to do let send events receive events equals So what do we want to do for this? Is this just going to be bounded, unbounded? Are those the only... Is there no new? So we have crossbeam, we have channels. Bounded creates a channel of bounded capacity, i.e. there is a limit. So I want no limit. So unbounded creates a channel of unbound capacity, can hold any number of messages at a time. So unbounded. So unbounded. And that gives us this sender and receiver. So we're going to store send events here. So send events go here. But the event manager itself, we need to make sure that it has the receiver. So it gets the receive events here. So event manager in new, this is gonna have to be different. So I'm actually just gonna write all this code. I'm not gonna worry about any of this stuff right this second. None of that happens anymore. But we're gonna have a receiver. So receive events is going to be a crossbeam channel receiver event inside, and we're going to store that away. So events receiver, the receiver event. I like that name more. And then we just store this away. So now in the main library at the bottom, we're not going to do this anymore. We don't need to. And down here, we're not going to talk to the event manager whatsoever. It's not aware of the event manager. It doesn't care about that. But instead, this is going to be send events. That's what I call it, right? Send events, yes. We're going to do send events dot send, and the message is going to be this event key pressed key code. And we have to unwrap here because this function doesn't let us return a result. So this sends out the event, and you are going to receive this event in here and then send it out to whoever cares about this. Okay, so well, who does care about this? Right now, like our main struct cares about it, doesn't it? In here. To like delete, to remove the floor. So how do we deal with this? I want you to be listening to the event, and when that event happens, we then do the thing. So how are we going to do that? We can pub sub to have a function stored, or we could just check the events. Hey, what events do we have? Oh, that's what it is. We can have right. We're going to store in receive events here. So this could essentially just be the events receiver. A receiver with, this is now going to be all the events that we care about. KO2 fan was subscribed with Prime. Thank you so much for the subscription. Oh, it didn't tell me. Usually it gave me more information about that. Now it's just like, you subscribed with Prime. Well, thank you so much for the subscription. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the family, and I hope you enjoy our 2 emotes that we have. Let's see. I think you're just gonna be the event, right? You're just gonna store this event. Oh, I love the two. Oh, I love how we both have essentially the same exact emote, but reversed, so they can be waving towards each other. Okay, so we have our events receiver event. We're going to store this. We have to create that here now. So let what's interesting is that we're giving this receiver event here. I essentially want to store this event, like this receiver. Oh no, I want to give the sender to the event manager. So let's do this like right down here. So we're gonna do let, this is gonna be the manager sending events. So this could still be like shadowed like this. It's maybe a little bit weird. This is the events receiver. I misspelled receiver up here. Now, what I want to do is I want to tell the event manager I want to subscribe to certain events. So that way I can then check these when they happen. So in this case, no, I don't want to do that. I want to go here. I want to subscribe. And I want to subscribe to a specific event, right? An event, which in this case can just be the string of the event that I'm looking to subscribe to. And I'm not going to return anything, but we need to handle this. So if I for example, if I debug this event name, let's call it the event name. Then in here we create the, don't need all that. We're gonna mute this event manager. So then we can do event manager dot subscribe. And the event name is gonna be event key pressed I don't even know what, I have to give it like a key press name for this. It'd be nice if I could have this be to string where I don't care what this is, but I think I have to give it just a key code, a virtual key code. Or a key code space. Okay, so event manager subscribe to string. So if I do that, we have to give it the event name. Oh, and I have to give it the sender. And I keep the receiver here. So this is going to be the send event. We store this away. So now back in subscribe, the event name, and we also need the sender, which is this crossbeam channel sender for event. an event name we're going to store away. And then we're going to store, okay, what do you need? The events receiver. And send. Oh, we got rid of send events. I'm giving you ownership. Okay, let's rename this one. This is for the you know, I should do this inside of the subscriber. We should do this. So events receiver is really gonna be returns the receiver when I subscribe, and I don't have to pass it anything else. We just give it here, just give it the event that I want to subscribe to. And if I even just give it the event, like an example event, I don't need this sender here. We subscribe to you. So then we want we're gonna get the sender receiver equal to crossbeam channel unbounded. That gives us this. We're gonna want to store this away. As part of the events. But we're going to want to return a receiver with for events. So then this is going to be our receiver. So we get this back. You can take in an event. This will essentially be like a two-stringed version. We don't care about that. Okay, so there's no errors now. So if I run this, we should see at the beginning that we are storing away, like we're requesting to subscribe to KeyPressed. Okay, perfect so far. Now I'm subscribing to that. That means now every time this event happens and we broadcast this event, we want everyone who subscribed to it to receive it. So now we want this broadcast again. I don't know if I need a mute self. I think it can just be self. That may or may not be true. And then the event. We're not going to return anything, I don't think. No, there's a result that gets returned. But I don't know exactly what this is. Let's just return an error result with nothing good happens from it. We just do that. So right now, if I want to just debug this event, don't care about that right this second. We're going to come back into the main library. And down here at the bottom, oh, right, it's send events, it sends out like that. So I don't need a broadcast. We get these events in here. So we need an update. We need an update function. In updates, we're going to take a look at our events receiver and notify everyone who is subscribed to those events that, well, it's time for them to do their thing. So in update, we need to get an event like loop through all the events and like tell everyone else to do their thing. I think that works. So we need a subscribers. And this is where we get our hash map. So hash map, subscribers to the events, which is going to be the string. And then these are going to be senders for event. So that's what I care about here. And then here we're going to have subscribers. New, so it's an empty hash map to begin with. And then when we subscribe, we have this sender here. This is what we need to store away. So, and we have this event name, which is perfect here. So we can now say self.subscribers now this means we can only have one subscriber per event, which in this specific case is probably going to be fine. It might be best if we just do this as a vector. So we can have any number of subscribers to an event. So, okay, subscribe to an event. We want to do let subscribers equals self.subscribers entry. This is going to be the event name to string, or default that gives us now this mutable reference to a vector. And then we want to now push our sender in. So subscribers dot push the sender. And we return the receiver. Okay, so now we have somebody who's listening for us. In update, we want to loop through. Is this true? No. Maybe. In update, because we're not multi-threaded for this, we want to loop through all the events that we're receiving and then send them out to whoever's subscribing for it, depending upon what they're looking for. So if we do like some, let's see, we can loop. Then we want to get the event out. So let's see, let event equals self.events receiver dot, what is it? Is it get? It's recv. We can do a try recv, which gives us a result here. So basically, if let some events equals, okay, try recv. So now we have this event in here. If we don't have this, it's time for us to then break out of the loop. And it's not a sum, it's an okay, which gives us the event here. And then if I want to like make this maybe a little bit nicer looking, I could then just do let event equals this entire thing. We just return the event here, and instead of breaking, we just return an early return. We're done. Now we can use the event down here. Okay, I should be able to like debug this event, like what it is, but we kind of know what it is here. we're going to run the update every loop. So every loop, we're going to go through all of the events that we have and send them out. So we need to find this event from subscribers. So get the list of all subscribers. So let's do subscribers equals self.subscribers. We're going to get, and that's going to be the event dot to. Now, this needs to be a reference to a key as opposed to the full toString. So I could just do toString with that on it, but I think there's another macro here. So strum macros. I think there's a toStir. Or not exactly that. Something similar to it. There's an as static. This might be what we want. Okay, as ref stir. As ref stir. Now, how do I use you? Just as ref. That's what I want. So then this becomes event.asRef. Now this gives us the option here, because there's a possibility that we don't have any. So maybe we need to do an if let sum. So if we have subscribers, here's now a vector of these subscribers. Then we want to send these event out to all of them. So we want to loop through all the subscribers. So for subscribers, subscriber dot send the event. Okay, a moved value. Now these events are pretty small, so I'm just going to also derive clone and copy. And that means they will auto clone out, and then these return a result. We can just question mark you then. And then once we reach the end of these, we want to return okay, like that. Now, there's a possibility we can run into an infinite loop here. All right, what are you upset about? Unused variable event. Right. Because we're not going to receive an event in here. We're going to receive the event through the channel. So every loop, we're going to send all the all the events to all the people that care about that event. So grab an event out, and then for that event, send it to all the subscribers that care about it. And then grab the next event out, send it to the subscribers that care about it. And then grab the next event. So if there's like 10 events in one frame, maybe like 30 different subscribers get all those different events. So then an update here, we can do a self dot our event manager dot update. Okay, happy so far. Now, if I want to receive that event myself, that's going to happen in here. We do need to unwrap at this point in time because we can't convert it into a game result. Okay, so you're happy there. What are you upset about? Remove floor is not being used yet. And the events receiver is not being not yet. We did subscribe to it though, right? We subscribe to the key pressed. So I'm actually going to rename this. So this is going to be the key pressed event. So down here in update, we should now be able to check to see if the key pressed is received and then handle it. So let's grab out if there is an event in there. So if let okay key pressed equal to, and you're really the key pressed event equal to self dot key pressed event dot try rec v. So if we got you out, we have this event here, and then finally we want to like extract the key from that. So if can I get that out? If let's just debug this key pressed event. So I believe every time we press a key, we should now see that debugged out. There it is. So key pressed event, it's on librs line 235. Nothing else is happening. So I want to now check to see if this key pressed event is the A that we're looking, or is the space that we're looking for. So we could match on this event, but we can also just do if let event key code space equals key pressed event, then we can just debug space pressed. Try this again. Oh, no, it does not like that. Try to match against it. Oh, event key pressed. Event key pressed key code space. So let's see, unnecessary nested match. The outer pattern can be modified to include the inner pattern. Oh, right. Really? Can I? Can you fix that? What? No, that was wrong. You want me to put this in here, but I don't think I can do an if let okay and this. Which is a little bit unfortunate. But let's just run it anyways with the warning there. Now when I hit any keys, nothing happens, but if I hit space, space has been pressed. And that means now, if space is pressed, we can now do a self dot remove floor. Okay, perfect. Yes, yes, I know. So now we have a decoupled, it's not like super decoupled because it was like in the same struct, but we have like the system in place. Now we can remove that top floor, but we can also have events maybe sent through that other event handling system with the physics. So if I want to, first of all, I'm just gonna ignore you. So this is collapsible match. It should be able to match event key pressed with something else, right? Oh, is it not caring about this? No, because I want to care about like the space. Oh, you're talking about this. If okay, and then event key pressed. Yeah, let's try it. Key code space. If that is this, then we return, then we do that. Let's try it. Okay, that's cool. That's much better. Thank you, Epic Blarg. And it still works. Okay, perfect. So yeah, this is so much nicer to look at. Okay, so if the event is the key code space, we go ahead and remove the floor out of here. So we check every frame if we've got that. And I think what happens is when you receive the event, it removes it from the channel. So we don't need to like worry about like deleting it from the channel or having it in there for too long. Okay, so what's next? Nope, nobody's sending me a message there. Okay, so what is next? We want to, like, the entire purpose of this thing is to be able to have our physics event handler register and then send the events out. So how do we want to do this? We have this entire physics system. We create the event handler here. So we need the physics event handler to subscribe to the bigger event handler, the event manager. So let's actually take in the event manager here, which this is going to be a mutable reference to the event manager. And then we're going to pass this in here. So a couple problems in here. We need to pass in the event manager. Then in here, in new, we need to take in the event manager. So I want you to subscribe to the right event. So we're going to say let our receiver, so our events receiver, no, because we want like the sender and receiver, don't we? How does that work again? What am I thinking? Send events for this. Oh, right. Can we clone send events? If we can clone send events, then in our mod for you, we can have events receiver and events sender here. When we create a new one, so this is a sender event, I think this is not clonable and this one is, if it's the same as the other one. Doesn't really say. So we store you away. We're not going to take in an events receiver anymore. We're going to create them. So events sender, events receiver equals we create that. Events sender and receiver get in here. We return a self. That's fine. I want a method to get the sender. So you can subscribe to get a sender. Let's also just function get sender. I want to return a sender for event, and this is going to return a self dot event sender, which I think should clone. Does it have a copy on it? I don't know if we need to. It'll yell at me if I need if I don't need to do the clone. Now in the main library here, so I don't need to create these at all. Don't need to. We're just gonna create a new one here. But the send events for you, you're gonna be the event manager dot get sender. Now, our mod here, so pass in the event manager. Oh, I need to save you for that to update. Okay, then we're happy again. Everything should still be working. So we have our event manager. If we want to subscribe now, so events receiver equals the event manager dot subscribe. So what event do we care about here? Our event manager. Oh, we're not subscribing at all. We're not subscribing. We want to get the sender. So this is the event sender. It's going to be a sender. Crossbeam event inside. Event sender is going to be event manager dot get sender. That's what we care about. Oh, okay. Can I just put this up here? Haha, I can just put it up there and it'll be fine. Okay. Great. So now in our event handler here, we have our event sender. So in our intersection event, so that's what's going to happen is the intersection event happens. So intersection event. And we want to maybe have like the two colliders. So this will be like collider one, collider and collider. Collider handle and collider handle. So in you, when this happens, so if event dot intersecting is true, then we want to self dot event sender dot send, and the message is going to be an event, intersection event, event dot collider1, event dot collider2. And that sends out that event. And we don't care about you. Okay, so nobody's listening to this event yet, but so who would care about this? We want like some big thing happening. You know what? The main instruct is probably going to care about this the most. So we're going to, in here, we have the key pressed event. We're also going to want the other event too. So this is going to be the like end game event. So like because it's not the game. So like this is the chosen event. It's like something chosen event. Not sure. Finished event. Or the collision intersection event. I have a receiver with an event inside. And we're going to do the exact same thing here. Intersection event. Okay, so now I think this is unfortunate because I don't know if there's a good way for me to create this with like handles that don't exist. So I may have to, instead of like doing a toString in subscribe, we just make you string here. So this is just going to be key pressed like that. To owned. Event. Intersection event, but because I don't have any of those. To owned for that. Which that will give us a receiver here. And then we can throw that away. So intersection event here. Then in updates. If let, okay, event equal to self dot intersection event trirec v. We now have this event here. We know that it's an intersection event. It might be nice for us to have like just a single channel that's like coming out for each thing. And then we don't like necessarily know what the event is. We just know that we wanted to see it. That could be interesting for us to do also in this the event manager. So instead of like subscribing to a specific event, we have all the events that we want to send it to. That could be good. That could work out really well. And then we don't need this thing here like that. I think that's what I want to do starting next time. So that being said, it is after 12, so I need to get out of here. So let's sort of figure out what we want to do with this. We can actually check to see if it works first, maybe like have it not be the best. So if let's event intersection event, like we know it's like something, so we don't know what you are, equals event. What are you upset about? Found Triarch V. You return a result. If okay with that. If let event intersection event equals you. I don't need to do a. Oh, wait a second. How did I get rid of that? Okay. Here we go. Okay, so you're happy now. We can just debug. This would be game over. Yes, I know we can do a combination error, but I really want to do like a bigger combination later on. So if I run this, we can see which one of these run, and then eventually we can, figure out which one won, which would be really nice. But until then, let's go ahead and just sort of like let this run through to the end, and then I'll probably be shutting the stream down so I can go grab lunch and call my mother for Mother's Day. It's so interesting because I think that this one is clearly going to be the winner, but then it like gets hung up and other ones like end up catching up to it. So it's always really close. Yeah, no, it doesn't win. Now it looks like that one's going to win, and I think it's going to. Game over. The event handler worked. Now we don't know which one was the game over, but we can get those handles. We can turn them into game obds, and then we can get the name of the choice that was chosen from that. So we're moving pretty well. And then the other thing is like I don't necessarily like this grid pattern. I don't like it's interesting, but I think there's better. Like I think there's more interesting things that we can do with it. But with that, I'm really happy with what we're seeing so far. So I'm gonna go ahead, let's clean up some of these warnings. This warning to string, we don't need you because we're passing in a string already. So redundant to string. Don't know how I got that one. Constantly get those import selves. Don't need them. Unnecessarily nested match. I'm going to allow this one. We're going to put a note in here. So we want to have a single receiver per component that will send all the events that have been subscribed to. So that might end up looking like changing subscribe out. I could imagine that subscribe could be like a vector of the events that we want to subscribe to instead of just a single subscribe name. Maybe we can have like a subscribe one and subscribe many. I don't know. We'll have to sort of like think about that, because right now this is creating the subscriber and sender, and therefore we can only do it to one. But senders are clonable. Receiver, we can only have one of them. We return to one sender, but like we can store many of these senders out. So something we want to do. All right, that's good. Let's go ahead and close all these down. And this is going to be part 6. So I'll be updating that right after this. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for stopping by and watching me get through this. Thank you for the help. Also, I think we're getting closer and closer to getting this done, or at least to be able to move with the really fun part, which is figuring out the organization of nails and what would actually look best. Anyways, have a great rest of your Sunday and happy Mother's Day. I will see you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Mountain Time for continuing on this. All right, bye.